Okay, planning a presentation on nanotechnology. Okay, yeah, not nano, nanotechnology. Now there will be two students who are going to discuss about their presentation, and the topic of the presentation is nanotechnology. This part of IELTS listening is academic. Part 1 and 2 they were social. Part 3 and part 4 they are academic. And part 3 is really a bit, what do you say, confusing, because there are two or sometimes three speakers, they are talking, right? So audio can be a little fluent, and ideas are based on science, technology, research. Now nanotechnology, I mean, most of us don't know about nanotechnology, but don't worry, this is going to be a sort of a lesson in a way that anyone who does not have prior knowledge on nanotechnology can understand that. They make sure about these things, okay? So question number 21, Russ. You know Russ biscuit, Russ Papa? Yeah, exactly. Russ says that his difficulty, underline, Russ says his difficulty in planning the presentation is due to, underline, due to. Now, what is the reason for his difficulty? I mean, for example, and you need to visualize. Russ is a student, okay, not biscuit. Russ is a student who is having difficulty planning his presentation. Now, what is the reason? There are three possible reasons. Two things he will say, that is not my difficulty, that is not difficult for me, but one will be the right answer. Option A, underline, lack of knowledge. Now, if in the audio he says, I know a lot about this topic, then A will not be the answer. If he says, I know a little about this topic, then it can be the right answer. And if he says, initially, I did not know anything about this topic, but then I read several books and now I know everything, what will be the answer? Not A, because A is lack of knowledge. He can say, initially I had lack of knowledge, but then I learned about it. Option B, uncertainty about what he should try to achieve. Underline the word uncertainty. And I have seen this word. I mean, this is examiners, one of the question making criterias, right? Now I'm reaching that. Uncertainty, whenever they show uncertainty in IELTS listening, IELTS reading, they will say, I'm not sure what to do. Or they say, for example, if I say, I don't know whether I should go to Islamabad or Karachi. What does it mean? Uncertainty, unsure. I'm not sure whether I should drink tea or coffee. What is that? Uncertainty. Or I'm not clear about what I'm going to do here. So that is uncertainty. Okay. So whenever they use the word uncertainty, they use whether. Okay. Whether I should go to Lahore or Islamabad, or I am unsure, I don't know whether I should do this or that. And there are always 2 to 3 options. Option C, short time. Short time for preparation. If he says, my presentation is day after tomorrow and I have only 2 days. And if he says, well, I've got enough time, then it is not the right answer. Now, have you noticed one thing? Options are long, but in option A, we only focused lack of knowledge. In option B, we only focused uncertainty. In option C, short time. So this is how you need to cut the options short, right?
Come in, Russ.
Thank you.
Now, you wanted to consult me about your class presentation on nanotechnology. You were due to give it next week, aren't you?
That's right, and I'm really struggling. I chose the topic because I didn't know much about it and wanted to learn more, but now I've read so much about it, in a way there's too much to say. I could talk for much longer than the 20 minutes I've been allocated. Should I assume the other students don't know much and give them a kind of general introduction? Or should I try and make them share my fascination with a particular aspect?
You could do either, but you'll need to have it clear in your own mind.
Then I think I'll give an overview.
Okay.
Should I do this? Should I do that? You need to clear your mind. Okay, so whenever they use uncertain, and they will use this word again somewhere. So whenever they use the word uncertain, should I do this? Should I do that? Whether I should do this or that and all that. Correct answer is B. Right? Got the point? Good. Question number 22. Russ and his tutor agree that now on one point they will agree and on 2 points they will disagree. So where they disagree, that will not be your answer. Russ and his tutor agree that his approach in the presentation will be. So underline agree and then underline his approach. What do they mean by his? Russ, exactly. Okay. To concentrate on how nanotechnology is used in one field. Underline concentrate, nanotechnology used one field. Okay, Dubai English. Yeah, you just need to underline the words. Okay. Option B. Follow chronological developments. Underline chronological developments. Whenever they use the word chronological developments. For example, if I say in 1950, one scientist coined the term nanotechnology. In 1958, nanotechnology was actually discovered. In 1965, this is called chronological order. Chronological order means by years. In 2001, this happened. 2005, this happened. So that is chronological development. And option C, range of applications. Like nanotechnology is used in medicine, nanotechnology is used in agriculture, nanotechnology is used in textile. Okay, range of applications. Now we've just underlined concentrate, nanotechnology is used in one field. One field. And if they use the word other fields, many fields, then A will not be the answer. Okay? And chronological development, if they agree on that, it will be the answer. And if they don't agree, then. And one more thing. It is also possible that tutor may suggest two options. The tutor may say, well, you can plan your presentation in chronological development, or there is another way that you can focus. But you are going to see where do they agree. And when they agree, the tutor and the other one say, okay, that's right, exactly, and all that.
Now, one way of approaching this is to work through developments in chronological order.
Uh-huh.
On the other hand, you could talk about the numerous ways that nanotechnology is being applied.
You mean things like thin films on camera displays to make them water repellent and additives to make motorcycle helmets stronger and lighter?
Exactly. Or another way would be to focus on its impact in one particular area, say medicine or space exploration.
That would make it easier to focus. Perhaps I should do that.
I think that would be a good idea.
Right.
Okay, perhaps I should do that. That would make it a good choice. Option C. All right, correct answer is option C. What do you think? Let's listen to it again. Correct answer is A. I tell you why.
Now, one way of approaching this is to work through developments in chronological order.
Okay, one way of approaching this. She's only suggesting. They don't agree on that. One way of approaching this is chronological order.
Uh-huh.
On the other
And he said, He's just listening. And then she says another way.
hand, you could talk about the numerous ways that nanotechnology is being applied.
Okay, numerous ways nanotechnology is being applied. That is option C. Range of applications of nanotechnology. Numerous ways nanotechnology is applied. And she said another way. Now these are two suggestions. Let's see their agreement.
Mean things like thin films on camera displays to make them water repellent and additives to make motorcycle helmets stronger and lighter.
Okay, now this is only the explanation of point C. Now they come to point A.
Exactly. Or another way would be to focus on its impact in one particular area.
Okay, focus on its impact in one particular area. Focus is concentrate. One particular area is one field. So correct answer is A. That's right. Question number 23. In connection with slides. You know slides, PowerPoint? Okay, in connection with slides, the tutor advises Russ to. Now he's got presentation in PowerPoint. What does tutor say about that? Talk about things that he can find slides to illustrate. So talk about things, find slides to illustrate. For example, if he's talking about something, it should be on the slide also. So he should talk about things which he can find on slides. Option B, look for slides to illustrate the points he makes. So slides to illustrate points. Slides to illustrate point. Illustrate means explain. And option C, omitting slides together. All together. What does it mean? Omit. Omit means completely remove. Means don't use slides. If she says don't use slides at all or remove all the slides, omit all the slides, then it is option C.
How important is it to include slides in the presentation?
They aren't essential by any means. And there's a danger of tailoring what you say to fit whatever slides you can find. While it can be good to include slides, you could end up spending too long looking for suitable ones. You might find it better to leave them out.
I see.
You might find them better to leave them out. Leave them out. Them means slides. You might find it better to leave them out. Leave them out means omit. Leave out. Leave out means chhod dena. Omit means chhod dena. So you might find it better to leave them out. Okay? Please listen again.
How important is it to include slides in the presentation?
They aren't essential by any means.
They aren't essential by any means. First she said they aren't essential means they are not. For are not we have this contraction. It is called aren't. They aren't essential by any means.
And there's a danger of tailoring what you say to fit whatever slides you can find.
Okay, and there is a danger of tailoring to fit whatever you are saying to the slide.
While it can be good to include slides, you could end up spending too long looking for suitable ones.
Okay, it's good to use slides, but you cannot spend too long looking for suitable ones. Means you cannot spend a lot of time.
You might find it better to leave them out.
I see.
You might find it better to leave them out. So, omit slides. Question number 24. They both agree. Underline both agree. Best way for us to start his presentation. So, best way, start presentation. Both agree. Best way to start presentation. Encourage the audience to talk. For example, say, okay guys, today I'm going to talk to you about nanotechnology. What do you know about nanotechnology? Yes, you. Okay, you, interesting, good point. Yes, what do you say? This is what? Encourage audience to talk. Option B, explain what Russ intends to do. Now, what is that? Today in my presentation, first of all, I will tell you what nanotechnology is. And secondly, I will tell you the latest developments in the field of nanotechnology. So this is what explain what Russ intends to do. Option C, provide an example. He can say, well, once upon a time in a hospital, there was a patient, and then he just gives one example, right? So let's see. What do they say about it? मुंह सीधा रखा कर मेरे सामने घर जाके जैसा मर्जी मुंह बनाओ मुझे कोई इतराज़ नहीं यहाँ पे स्माइल वाला होना चाहिए चैन कुछ हस्बैंड्स बाहर से सही आएंगे जैसे ही घर आएंगे की पक्का है साथ ही जो है ना मुंह इस तरह का ये घर वाला मुंह इधर नहीं बनाना अच्छा जी क्वेश्चन नंबर क्या था 24 I play the audio.
Another thing I was wondering about was how to start. I know presentations often begin with, first I'm going to talk about this, and then I'll talk about that. But I thought about asking the audience what they know about nanotechnology.
That would be fine if you had an hour or two for the presentation, but you might find that you can't do anything with the answers you get, and it simply eats into the short time that's available.
So maybe I should mention a particular way that nanotechnology is used to focus people's attention.
That sounds sensible.
That sounds sensible. I should focus a particular way how nanotechnology is used. What is it? C, to provide an example. One way nanotechnology is used. So that is example, right? So that is the correct answer. And why A and B are wrong? Because he said presentations usually start like today I will tell you this and that and all that. Okay? Please listen to this last part.
An hour or two for the presentation, but you might find that you can't do anything with the answers you get, and it's simply...
Okay, so you cannot do anything from the answers you get from the audience. And she said if you have 1 hour presentation, then you can do that.
It eats into the short time that's available.
So maybe I should mention a particular way that nanotechnology is used.
I should mention a particular way nanotechnology is used.
To focus people's attention.
That sounds sensible.
That sounds sensible. What does it mean? They agree. That sounds sensible. Question number 25. What does tutor advise Russ to do next? So underline tutor advise, do next while preparing for his presentation. Option A, summarize main points he want to make. Underline summarize main points. So if they say write a summary of your presentation or convert your presentation into one single sentence, that is summarize. Option B, read the notes he's already made. So if he says go through all the notes that you have made, read means go through. Option C, list the topics he wants to cover. So for example, make a list of the topics that you want to cover in your presentation. So what should he do next?
What do you think I should do next? I really have to plan the presentation today and tomorrow.
Well, initially, I think you should ignore all the notes you've made, take a small piece of paper and write a single short sentence that ties together the whole presentation. It can be something as simple as, nanotechnology is already improving our lives. Then start planning the content around that. You can always modify that sentence later if you need to.
Okay.
All right. Write a single sentence that is summarize the main point he wants to make. Okay?
What do you think I should do next? I really have to plan the presentation today and tomorrow.
Well, initially, I think you should ignore all the notes you've made.
Okay, initially you should ignore all the notes you made. Option B, ignore. That's gone.
Take a small piece of paper and write a single short sentence that ties together the whole presentation.
Write a single short sentence that ties together all the presentation. So one sentence, all presentation means summarize the main point.
It can be something as simple as, nanotechnology is already improving our lives. Then start planning the content around that.
Then start planning the content around that single sentence. Okay? Now, let's go on. Questions 26 to 30. What comments does the speaker make about each of the following aspects of Russ's presentation? Comment and aspects of presentation. Aspects are simple, structure, eye contact and all that. So when they give you half minute to read questions 26 to 30, what will you read? Questions or comments? Comments, good choice. Now I tell you how they are going to interpret these comments for you. Option A, lacked a conclusion. Now lacked a conclusion, for that they say you finished without conclusion, or there was no ending, or you finished abruptly. You finished abruptly means achanak, you finished a presentation. Ended abruptly, finished abruptly, lacked conclusion and all that. Option B, useful in the future. For future, they commonly use the word later on. It will help the students later on. It will help the students later on means useful in the future. Option C, not enough. For not enough, they commonly use the word very little. Okay, not enough, very little, insufficient. Option D, sometimes distracting. Now, what is a distraction? If I'm going to do this, it's a distraction. During the class, if someone is clicking the pen, it's a distraction. So they may not use the word distraction, but they will talk about something as a distraction. Okay, for example, say during the presentation, you are always touching your nose, and I was really upset about that. So that's a distraction. Option E, showed originality. Originality means groundbreaking, your own work, right? Option F, covered wide range. Covered wide range means it covered everything, right? And option G, not too technical. Not too technical means simple, right? Simple. So let's start. Question number 26, structure. Now what will you do? You will put this finger on question number 26, and this pencil hand will move through the options, and as you find the answer, you will just write the option number. Question number 26.
Okay, now let's think about actually giving the presentation. You've only given one before, if I remember correctly, about an experiment you'd been involved in.
That's right. It was pretty rubbish.
Let's say it was better in some respects than in others. With regard to the structure, I felt that you ended rather abruptly, without rounding it off. Be careful not to do that in next week's presentation.
Okay.
You finished rather abruptly without rounding it off. Rounding it off means concluding. Finished abruptly means without conclusion. So what's the answer? Well done. Very good. Correct answer is A. Okay, question number 27. Eye contact.
And you made very little eye contact with the audience because you were looking down at your notes most of the time. You need to be looking at the audience and only occasionally glancing at your notes.
Now he's saying class lag rahi hai na. So you made very little eye contact. Not enough. Okay, your eye contact was very little. C will be the right answer. Whenever they label ABC, never write the word after that. Just write ABC. Okay. Next, body language.
Your body language was a little odd. Every time you showed a slide, you turned your back on the audience so you could look at it. You should have been looking at your laptop. And you kept scratching your head, so I found myself wondering when you were next going to do that, instead of listening to what you were saying.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. Option D. Yeah, body language was odd. Like you turned your back to the audience, right? And then you are scratching your head. And I was wondering when you are going to do that next. Okay. So D will be the right answer. Distracting. So distracting, they use the word turn your back and scratching your head. Question number 29. Choice of words.
What did you think of the language? I knew that not everyone was familiar with the subject, so I tried to make it as simple as I could.
Yes, that came across. You used a few words that are specific to the field, but you always explained what they meant, so the audience wouldn't have had any difficulty understanding.
So, choice of words. G, not too technical. You used simple words, and if there was a difficult word, you explained what it means, so that came in handy. Next, handouts.
I must say, the handouts you prepared were well thought out. They were a good summary of your presentation, which people would have been able to refer to later on. So well done on that.
Thank you.
People would be able to refer to later on. Well done on that. That is option B, useful in the future. In the future, later on. And again, I'm telling you, all these tips and techniques that I'm giving you, they will repeat. And after solving 8 to 10 tests like this, you'll become very good. Okay, you'll become a hero of IELTS listening. Let's go on.